What's poppin'? Welcome back to the station. Welcome back to the channel. Y'all know who it is, your boy Ray G. You can find me on X at RayGQ. Let's talk ball. The wildcard weekend in the NFL is over. The divisional matchups are set, and there's a lot of news and things coming out of the NFL. Head coaches moving on, potential offensive coordinator hirings that can change what these teams may prioritize in the offseason come free agency. And then in April, when the NFL draft rolls around, I mean, listen, Carolina's a spot where I've talked to multiple people that say they need a tight end. They need a dynamic playmaker at the running back position. They need somebody opposite Tetairoa McMillan when they just lost their left tackle, Ioane. How does this impact what the team may have wanted to do versus what they need to do here in round one? So we're going to talk through everything. Some picks a little easier than others. We're going to react to what happened in the college football playoff matchup. We got to see Mendoza versus Moore head-to-head. I don't know how people feel about Moore now, but here's the reality. If he does declare here in the next day, he's going to be a top pick in the NFL draft. Still remains to be seen. I appreciate y'all pulling up. Y'all know at the end of the video, I will look at the comments from the last mock, see what y'all wanted, talk through it, answer your questions. Just a way to engage, man. I love the community that we're building here. So if you support the channel, if you enjoy it, if you're entertained or you find it actionable, hit that thumbs up button, like the video, subscribe to the channel, help your boy grow. We've got some really cool prospect profiles dropping on the channel starting next week. And I appreciate y'all, man. We're going to talk some ball, have some fun. NFL draft time is here. Much love. Let's get into it, baby, after the intro. Right, the board is set. The Raiders are picking number one, and I'm not going to take a lot of time here because they are going to draft Fernando Mendoza, quarterback out of Indiana. Through 2 college football playoff games, this quarterback has 5 incompletions and 8 touchdowns. In 2 college football playoff games, Fernando Mendoza has 5 incompletions to 8 touchdowns. You watched him head-to-head with Dante Moore. I don't care that this may not be the year that Caleb Williams exists or the quarterback doesn't have the skill set or the tools of a Drake May. There's no doubt that Mendoza is the best quarterback in this class. He's a rock-solid quarterback prospect. Maybe he doesn't have all the high-end physical attributes as some quarterbacks of the future, but you can't tell me that this isn't a guy that could be the number 1 quarterback for an NFL team. So we're not going to play around. Fernando Mendoza to the Raiders. Very interested to see what the Raiders do with the head coach in the OC position. But I do think this is a spot where you get a good OC in there. You've got weapons with Brock Bowers. You need to find another receiver. I like Jack Best. You've got Ashton Jeanty. Offensive line needs a makeover. But you start that thing off with the quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. Now the Jets are up, and this might be the biggest sort of conundrum here at the top of the draft because there's everything in my power. I want to trade back. I want the Jets to move back with Cleveland. I want them to move back. Who else needs a quarterback back here? Miami. Could Miami jump up and the Jets move back? Miami's going to have a new head coach with Mike McDaniel fired. It's not going to be Tua. If Dante Moore declares, which I've been on record saying that I'm not sure he does, but if he does, he's going to be picked high. The Jets probably have other needs that they can fill throughout the draft and try to attack this position through free agency. I don't even know if Jets fans really feel the pick of Dante Moore right now. But if they're going to sit at 2, I don't see Arizona trading future first to move up 1 spot to draft them. Simpson is in the class. Trinidad Chambliss potentially in the class. Cleveland's done such a good job at acquiring draft capital. Are they giving up a 27 first along with an extra pick this year to move up to draft them? I don't think so. So the Jets are going to be put in this weird spot. Take them. Like, you got to find a quarterback. The Jets go Dante Moore. Jets fans, talk to me. I don't think that people are as excited about that pick today as they were maybe a few weeks ago. When pressure is invited, he really, really struggles when there's pressure. And a lot of quarterbacks do that, but I've also seen Chambliss stand in the gullet of the fire and take a shot and deliver a strike for a first down. I need to see more of that. I think Moore should come back. We'll see here in a day. I believe he's got until the 14th to declare. I think we might get that probably at the time that I post this video. Dante Moore is declared for the draft, even though I personally would like for him to come back. The Arizona Cardinals moved on from Jonathan Gannon, and Kyler Murray's contract may be a little more difficult to move off of. I've given the Cardinals Jeremiah love. We had some fun with that pick before. But I think in this spot with quarterback, running back, guard, tackle positions of need, one of the biggest risers throughout the college football playoffs has been Miami offensive lineman Francis Mauigoa. And I do think that whether you're going to kick him inside the guard, you let him play that tackle spot first. In a class that is universally weaker across the board at a lot of the premium positions, it's going to feel like get your draft guy season. Francis Mauigoa right here, one of the biggest risers for me, goes to Arizona at number 3. But at some point, I think we're going to get to the point where we see some more offensive linemen going. We got some more players. Monroe Freeland out of Georgia also declared, and we may be picking him in this draft a little later. Tennessee's on the clock at 4. We know they need weapons for Cam Ward. I think this is a prime destination for a free agent wide receiver to land in. They got $100 million in cap space. Let's improve the defensive side of the ball for the Tennessee Titans. I'll talk about Arvell Reese later because he's listed as a linebacker. We've talked about him as an edge rusher. I think linebacker is the position for Arvell Reese. But here for Tennessee, edge rusher is the position of need for the Tennessee Titans. Let's pair somebody up next to big Simmons in the middle. He's incredible, all-pro caliber player. David Bailey, I think, would make a ton of sense in Tennessee off of the edge. Giants are on the clock at 5. Giants fans, they want a receiver, right? Is this a spot where the Giants can move down? Let's look at the trade board. If Miami's calling, we may make a move. If Miami is calling, you got the Commanders at 7. San Francisco, can they move up? The Rams potentially move up to get somebody that they like. Is this a spot where Miami moves up for a Ty Simpson? Is this a spot at 5 where the Giants are like, we want receiver, but I really don't want to take a receiver right here? I'm looking at the board. The Commanders are up. You've got the Giants, you've got the Browns, you've got the Commanders. Let's see if we can make something shake with Miami. Let's see if we can make, and Ty Simpson, there's no promise that he's in the class either. He's got a $6 million offer apparently to go back to college. We'll see how all of that stuff plays out. But let's try to trade back with the Giants. We haven't done this a lot. Let's see if we could do something with Miami. So Miami's got to give up that. The Giants are going to give up 5. Miami would have to give up a 27 first for sure. Probably going to have to give up something else here in 2026. Would it be 43? 43, 11, a future first for that, and we'll give Miami back that. And I doubt they'll be interested in this deal. Like, they're not accepting this trade. They're not accepting it. I tried to make something work. I don't want to force it. If the Giants are here and they're forced to have to make a pick, let's go back to the players. Caleb Downs, I think he's one of the best players in this class. Rueben Bain, people say Giants fans say they don't need another defensive lineman in the class. They need a receiver, so let's give them a wide receiver, and the wide receiver I'm going to pair with the Giants and Jackson Dart is Jordyn Tyson, my wide receiver 1 in the class. I know a lot of people, injury history concerns, etc., etc. I still think he's the top dog. Giants go wide receiver at 5. Browns are on the clock at 6. Quarterback, receiver, guard, tackle, positions of need. They need a pass catcher as well. Could they be a spot to move back? Let's see. Does anybody want to trade back with the Browns? You got Kansas City calling to move up. The Cowboys at pick 12. I actually don't hate it. I actually don't hate a Dallas move up, but since I'm a Cowboys fan and I don't want people to call me a homer, we'll sit tight. Denver's not moving up. Pittsburgh potentially in the mix to move up. Cleveland's got to make the pick. Damn it, nobody's answering the phone. We got to make the pick. Let's go get a wide receiver, Carnell Tate. Come on down. You are a Brown catching passes from whoever's going to play quarterback. If Moore's off the board, it's not Dante. It's not Trinidad Chambliss at 6. It's not Ty Simpson at 6. I think Cleveland's going to be looking for a veteran quarterback. I think they're going to be looking for a vet. Commanders are on the clock at 7. We've had some fun with them. Jeremiyah Love, I think fans have liked that. Of the Commanders, come more around to it, but defensive line is still a position that a lot of Commanders fans saying we need. And this is a spot where Rueben Bain is on the board, true edge rusher. Arvell Reese, I have soured on him as a strictly edge player. I don't think that's what you want him to do, is just line up on the edge and go get it. But with the need of linebacker and edge rusher for Washington, all the physical tools and traits are there for him to be very good. I do think he's a linebacker, maybe an outside backer, Is 7 too high for an off-ball backer? He does have pass rush ability, so we know Washington's going through a transition with their offensive line, with their offensive unit, with Cliff Kingsbury being out of the way. But can Dan Quinn take him, having been around for when they did draft Micah Parsons? And not saying Reese is a Parsons 2.0, but can he deploy him in a way that he maximizes his skill set? I think this is a spot where the talent is still going to be so high. He's going to test like a freak. I still think he's going to be a top 10 pick. So Arvell, Reese to the Commanders here at 7. The New Orleans Saints are on the clock at pick 8. You've got D-line, receiver, guard positions of need for the Saints. I know it doesn't list it right here, but you do have Chris Olave. I do like Juwan Johnson at the tight end spot. And the receivers in round 2, probably going to be pretty good. Let's make things a little easier for Tyler Shough. And why not the running back? Why not Jeremiyah Love right here at 8? In an NFC South division that I'm not afraid about Carolina moving forward. I'm not terrified of Tampa Bay. I think this is one where they can absolutely compete in this division next year. And you add a player like Jeremiyah Love to Tyler Shough with Chris Olave, Juwan Johnson, Kelvin Banks, home run tackle, Talisi Fuaga on the other side. You got something cooking in New Orleans. Let's go Jeremiyah Love to the Saints at pick 8. At 9, Kansas City is on the clock, and they're just like, hell, this is great for us. We're not going to take the running back. We would have been tempted. I've seen people mock Kenyon Sadiq inside the top 10. No, thank you. This is Rueben Bain. Come on down. No doubt about it. You put him next to Chris Jones. That is lovely. And this sets up for probably my favorite pick inside the top 10. I've been wanting the mocks to play out this way for a couple of weeks just to talk about how good Caleb Downs and that fit to the Cincinnati Bengals would be. And I think it would be an incredible fit. Their safety play has not been up to par. Get you somebody that can lead the back end. The defense has a lot of areas of need, but I do think Caleb Downs in Cincinnati, that would be the pick. The Bengals would run to the podium, and that is the top 10. Top 10 picks in this mock. You have Fernando Mendoza going 1 to the Raiders. Dante Moore declares, depending on when you watch this video, he may be back at school. But if he declares, I do think he'll be drafted maybe even higher than he should be. Francis Mauigoa, the tackle out of Miami, fast riser, going 3 to Arizona. David Bailey, edge rusher out of Tech, goes to Tennessee at 4. Tyson, wide receiver out of Arizona State, goes to the Giants at 5. Maybe John Harbaugh is the coach there. Carnell Tate, we had receivers back-to-back, goes to the Browns. Arvell, Reese to the Commanders. We got Jeremiyah Love to the Saints, Rueben Bain to the Chiefs, and Caleb Downs at 10 to the Cincinnati Bengals. So the Dolphins are on the clock at pick 11, and we know that they need a quarterback. They've got a brand new head coach coming in. They've got a new GM they're working through. Ty Simpson is in the class. Should he go there versus will he go there? 2 completely different conversations, but it's not going to be Tua. Tua wants to go somewhere else. I don't think it's going to be Quinn Ewers. There are a ton of veteran quarterbacks that can come in and stopgap this thing. But in this mock, Ty Simpson, we've seen it time and time again. People will fall in love throughout the process. And there goes your third quarterback in the draft, Ty Simpson to Miami. Dallas is on the clock at pick 12. Can they trade back? Minnesota's wanting to move up. I wonder who that is for. Minnesota wants to move up. Dallas is always a player to kind of trade back. They always feel like they're in that mold to move back. So let's do it. Let's do it for Dallas. Minnesota's calling. Dallas is going to get 18. They're going to give up 12. They're going to get a future first-round pick from the Vikings. They've got to give up that 27 first-rounder. Dallas to give up, what does Dallas have to kick in? A fourth-rounder? That's not going to get it done. A round 2 pick? That could do it. A 3 next year, something there. And then Dallas gets 82, 97, 106. Would that work? Maybe this would work. This is a 3 for 3. Dallas is trading 12 to Minnesota. They're getting back 161 from Philadelphia. They're giving up 112 this year, but they're also receiving a 27 first in this. Let's see if we can do it. Boom, Minnesota did it. Minnesota did it. So the Vikings had somebody on their board they had to come up and get. I wonder who that might be. Defensive back, center, and running back positions of need for the Minnesota Vikings. And if they need Cornerback, you got McCoy, you got Mansoor, Delane right here. Will either of these players fall to them? Not sure, but if defensive back is the positions of need, I'm still going with Mansoor, Delane. I think he's a top 10 caliber player in this class. They need defensive back help. They're playing in a very competitive NFC North with receivers galore. Mansoor, Delane sniped in front of the Rams, who probably could have used that defensive back there. You do have McCoy there. The Rams defense has been Swiss cheese throughout the playoffs. The Bears trying to trade up. They're not going to make that move. So with this pick that they've acquired from the Atlanta Falcons, tackle, corner, quarterback positions of need, we're going to address a need for the Rams. Jermod McCoy, the knee's going to check out. Everything's going to be good. He's going to be a first-round pick. He goes to the Rams. So we had corners go back-to-back there, 12 and 13. Baltimore on the clock at 14, and you look at the Ravens, the positions of need. You've got receiver, you've got guard, you've got defensive line here in Baltimore. Mekhi Lemon would be fun here. Mekhi Lemon would be fun, but is that a redundant asset with Zay Flowers being able to dominate from the slot? Lemon is probably going to play inside, so maybe that's not the play. You've got guard play that I know has been suspect in Baltimore. Vega Ioane, the interior offensive lineman out of Penn State. If you can't go into next season with Daniel Falele at your left guard spot, if you're potentially going to lose Tyler Linderbaum, then you'd need a road grader on the inside, and Vega Ioane fits that mold. That's what we're going to do for Baltimore right here. It's not the sexy pick. We could go Peter Woods on D-line, but the D-line class, again, let me just show you interior D-line here. It's loaded. It is absolutely loaded. Woods, Banks, McDonald, Miller, Lee Hunter on the rise. Dominique Orange. You've got Darrell Jackson. This is a deep interior D-line class, so Baltimore can attack that in round 2. Let's get probably the best guard in this class out of Penn State. Really help Lamar Jackson out the running game with Derrick Henry. We're going Vega Ioane right here. 14 to Baltimore. At 15, Tampa Bay's on the clock. Dallas made a gamble. Maybe the linebacker would be there a little bit later. Nope. Sonny Styles coming off the board. Tampa Bay, they need defense. They're bringing back Todd Bowles. Sonny Styles in Tampa Bay, that seems like an easy fit. The Jets are back on the clock at 16 after taking Dante Moore with their second pick. Now here we go. They've got the 16th pick. Quarterback is filled. Receiver, position of need. They've got Garrett Wilson, Adnan Mitchell, D-line, linebacker, cornerback. Peter Woods. Can they replace what they lost in Quinn Williams with Peter Woods? This is still an incredible D-line prospect. Top 10 player over here at PFF. I do think Peter Woods to the Jets on the interior. A lot of Jets fans said that cornerback was not the biggest position of need, but if you walk out with Dante Moore, Peter Woods, I know Lemon is on the board. I think you can do a hell of a lot worse than that. So Peter Woods off of the board here to the Jets at 16. Lions are on the clock at pick 17. O-line. We got to go offensive line for the Detroit Lions. You've got Spencer Fano and Caleb Lomu on the board. Caden Proctor, more of a project, but a lot of talent there, maybe a little later. I think this is a spot where it is very easy to pick for the Lions right here. I do think Monroe Freeling out of Georgia, big, physical, athletically gifted guy, 6'7", 315 pounds. Like, he's going to be in play to be a first-round guy. There's going to be more offensive linemen come off the board, and I think Spencer Fano to the Detroit Lions, that starts that cascade effect. Dallas is on the clock now. This was the trade back with Minnesota, and just so Cowboys fans can see what they'll be working with here in 2027 with that trade back, they'll have their first-round pick. They've got Green Bay's first-round pick for Micah Parsons and an additional first-round pick from the trade back, and they still have 2 firsts this year. I would love it as a Cowboys fan. So right here, you got a couple of people calling. Pittsburgh calling. Cleveland also calling. Could Dallas trade back again? I would love it. I think they absolutely could trade back again. You look at the positions of need for Dallas: running back, edge, linebacker, and safety. Well, let's take a look at the edge. Cassius Howell is on the board. I think maybe the best edge rusher right here. You've got Romello Height still available. Keldrick Falk, he's not a true edge rusher to me, like a speed, come off the edge type of guy. He's 6'6", 290 pounds. So more of like that run grade that I just don't think he's what Dallas needs at this spot. I would prefer Romello Height or Cassius Howell. Height is listed as a linebacker. I think he's 6'3", 235. More of a linebacker, outside 3-4 kind of guy. I don't know if he's hand in the dirt at 235 pounds. Cassius Howell's not the biggest either, but he played there in the SEC, leading the SEC in sacks at 250. We're going Cassius Howell for Dallas here at 18. They need edge rusher. I know linebacker and safety are needs. Cassius Howell to Dallas at 18. Carolina's on the clock at 19. Linebacker and D-line. You've got Falk here. You've got Caleb Banks. McDonald, Romello Height. You could replace what you lost in Brian Burns with TJ Parker. The loss of Ekwonu definitely impacts that offensive line. Maybe they do what they did before when they signed the 2 guards and they go find a veteran tackle to kind of bridge that. I don't know what the backup tackle spot is, so I don't want to react too much to some of the unknown that I have with Carolina's personnel. So we'll stick to the positions of need that we can all kind of agree upon, and maybe one that's not on here that I think should be highlighted some more is their need for a dynamic playmaker at tight end. Bryce is a limited quarterback. He's not going to be able to do the things that Caleb Williams can do from the pocket at any quadrant of the field. So can you make life a little easier for him? There's no running back to take. That could also be a position of need with Rico Dowdle pretty much saying, hey, I'm up out of here after this year. They don't give me the damn ball. And Mekhi Lemon, I think the pairing of him with Teteroa McMillan would be outstanding, but they've got to find somebody at the tight end spot. Tight end 1 in this class for me still is Kenyon Sadiq, and that's what we're going to do. Kenyon Sadiq to the Carolina Panthers at 19, putting Dallas back on the clock here at 20. Again, I would love for a trade back. If there were a player that somebody really needed to have, I would love for Dallas to move back at this spot. But let's just say for the sake of this, they've got to make the pick. They attacked edge rusher with Cassius Howell a few picks ago. Now they're back up. There's not a safety that I'm taking right here. AJ Holsey, I like him, but he's more of a second-round guy. Off-ball linebacker is a big position of need for the Dallas Cowboys. Here you go. You got C.J. Allen. He's still graded as a top, first-round guy at 30. I'm not as high on C.J. Allen. I'd rather wait for Anthony Hill in round 2. I think there's some other players, Deontay Lawson, Jeremiyah, Hosea Trotter out of Missouri that you can go for. So we're not doing the linebacker spot for Dallas right now. Cowboys fans probably will not like it. And it's not a sexy pick, but I absolutely think that offensive line with Caleb Lomu, the right side, is a problem. There are rumors that Tyler Guyton might not be the guy at left tackle. He's the best remaining offensive lineman on the board. I think if you want to tackle, you've got to do it right here. Caleb Lomu to the Dallas Cowboys at 20. They go offensive line. So Dallas's draft, they went edge rusher and Cassius Howell out of the SEC Texas A&M. Caleb Lomu at 20, tackle out of Utah. All right, let's keep the train rolling here. Pittsburgh at pick 21, quarterback, wide receiver, tackle, and defensive back. Positions of need for the Steelers. Okay, we got a couple of people calling the phone line. The Browns trying to move on. I don't know who the hell the Browns are trying to get. The Browns took a wide receiver in round 1. Not sure who the Browns are trying to get. You got the Buffalo Bills currently projected to pick 26. I think they've got a good chance to win this weekend. Let's see what Buffalo wants to do. I think Buffalo's got somebody they want to come up for. Let's see. Buffalo, they're going to give up 26. Trade that with the Steelers. They're going to have to give up a future first, right? It may not have to be a ton, but a future first round pick. Maybe they kick back a third in this draft. They don't want to trade a first. All right. They don't want to trade a first, so it's not going to get done. We're not going to do it. I'm not going to piss off Steelers fans. Here at 21, let's just go with it. An obvious position of need is pass catcher. Watching them against the Houston Texans, there were no answers. DK Metcalf, outside of just getting it to him quickly, and I understand the quarterback is not very good with Aaron Rodgers, all of that stuff, but you've got to find other playmakers around for whomever's going to play quarterback, and it feels like Mekhi Lemon would be a Pittsburgh Steelers type of wide receiver. Can play in the slot. You can't roll Calvin Austin out there. I mean, Adam Thielen might have been the best guy they had, and he's 50 years old. So Pittsburgh needs a wide receiver. They need a quarterback. They need defensive back, tackle. But right here, Mekhi Lemon feels like a Pittsburgh Steeler. At 22, the Chargers on the clock. We're going O-line. Who's the best available offensive lineman? We're going to pull the tackles up on the board. We're going to go interior O-line. I don't want to say that tackle is the need, right? Because they are going to get back Rashawn Slater. They are going to get back Joe Alt, and you've got your bookend tackles. So a player like Monroe Freeling, while I want to pick him, he does profile at 6'7", 315, the way he moves, like a better tackle than guard. Can you kick Caden Proctor inside? This dude is 6'6", 6'7", 360 damn pounds. He's athletic. They throw him the ball on the outside. Can he, next to Joe Alt, kick inside and play that guard position? I don't know if Proctor is going to stay on the outside, but if you slide him in and you feel comfortable with that, that could be a big-time upgrade to this offensive front. And then you've got that swing guard tackle, just like Tyler Smith. When Tyler Smith out of Dallas is all-pro left guard. When he came out of Tulsa, he was viewed as a tackle. They kick him inside the guard, and then when something happened at tackle, they were able to put him outside as that swing tackle. Chargers need offensive line help. I'm not taking a center right here. Emmanuel Prignon could be the pick out of Oregon, but I'm going to take the athletically gifted Caden Proctor and just bet on Harbaugh being able to get the absolute most out of him. Playing inside next to Alt or Rashawn Slater should absolutely help Proctor out. I think this could be a spot where he reaches his potential ceiling. The Eagles are on the clock at 23. Dallas Goedert is a free agent. A.J. Brown potentially gone. The offensive line, they need help. The offensive play caller, they need help. If they lose A.J. Brown, they absolutely are going to have a big-time glaring need at the pass catcher position. I know that people say another cornerback next to Quinyon Mitchell. We know Cooper DeJean plays on the inside. You don't want a Dory Jackson out there as a primary guy, tight end position of need, guard on the inside. But if you lose A.J. Brown, you're going to need a receiver. And the receiver pool is deep. The receiver pool is good. If you want a big body guy to pair with Devontae Smith, you've got Denzel Boston. If you want a quick player that can separate and win fast for Jalen Hurts, you've got KC Concepcion right here as well. Elijah Surratt, another big outside body. You've got Jacoby Lane. This is a deep class at the wide receiver position. And this is a spot where I think if Philly lets A.J. Brown go, they're going to have to replace him with somebody. It cannot just be Devontae Smith and Darius Cooper or Jahan Dotson. For the first time, I'm going to mock a receiver to Philadelphia here, Denzel Boston out of Washington. I'm a big fan of his game. He's a bigger receiver, 6'4", 210 pounds, a bigger target for Jalen Hurts to get the ball to. I just don't think Philly's going to be able to walk in the next season with just no Dallas Goedert potentially. You're relying on Grant Calcaterra. Maybe they sign an Isaiah Likely in free agency. But it feels like receiver will be a position of need with everything going on with A.J. Brown. So that's what we're going to do. Denzel Boston to Philly at 23. Now Cleveland is back on the clock. First pick, they took Carnell Tate earlier in the draft. You look at the positions of need for the Browns: receiver, quarterback, guard, tackle. Let's look at the offensive line where they need significant help across the board. So let's take a look at the offensive tackles that are remaining. And I think right here, this is where Monroe Freeling comes off the board. He's going to be a big riser, a lot of talent. Carter Smith down there at Indiana, I like him as well. But right here, out of Georgia, SEC guy. Jennings Dunker, I looked at him some more. He's on the ground a lot. Not what you want to see out of a tackle that you're going to take in round one. I think Monroe Freeling has some of the tools and the traits that could absolutely get him drafted in round one. So that's what the Browns do. They go tackle, they go wide receiver, filling two positions of need in round one of this mock. The Bears are on the clock at 25, and I personally think they'll be picking a little bit later than where they are right here. D-line, linebacker, and safety positions of need for the Bears. This is a spot where Keldrick Falk could make some sense. I know that he's not your traditional edge rusher. I think he's more of a D lineman, or Caden McDonald, who's going to be a first-round pick on the inside. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go McDonald here for the Bears. Buffalo picking at 26, and I too think that they could be picking a lot later. But this could be a spot where Keldrick Falk comes off of the board. Edge rusher, linebacker, positions of need for the Bills. Not your typical speed guy, more of a power type edge rusher, but a falling player with that is very talented. A lot of people like Keldrick Falk. Just don't think he's that speed sort of edge rusher that you're looking for. But Buffalo fills the positions of need with Falk at 26. San Francisco's on the clock at 27. They need to start thinking about a contingency plan for Trent Williams on that left side of the offensive line. Defensively, I don't want to full sell panic too much with San Francisco. No Fred Warner, no Michael, no Bosa. You get those guys back defensively, this is a better unit. I do think that defensive back help. The defense has been eviscerated, so that is a position of need. But offensively, they are in a world of hurt. George Kittle's going to miss the season with the Achilles. Ricky Pearsall can't stay healthy. Juwan Jennings gone. Debo's shipped out of the building. Like you're looking at a team who had to rely on Kendrick Bourne and Demarcus Robinson in a playoff game. You can't do that with your $250 million quarterback. Brock Purdy, you have to have some weapons around him. And one of the receivers that I commonly mocked to San Francisco was Denzel Boston. But if he's not around, Casey Concepcion would be an amazing fit. Somebody that can win quick, get open for Purdy, precision route runner, somebody that Kyle Shanahan would probably love. And that's what we're going to do. Casey Concepcion going to San Francisco to team up with Brock Purdy and the Niners at 27. Here we are on the board at pick, what is this? Pick 28. 28 for the Houston Texans on the board. And the Texans, listen, that defense, it came alive against a very old Pittsburgh Steelers offense. But when you've got that defensive front, the secondary is nasty. Toa at Alshire at linebacker, there are very few weaknesses for this Houston Texans team. So maybe they're in a spot where they can just take best player available. You tell me they add Romello Heights or TJ Parker to this defense and it gets worse, you're crazy. It just gets better and better. Safety, AJ Halsey, but maybe not a position of need with Petrie there. Center, guard, and defensive line. Let's go with the best available defensive lineman for Houston. Let's make life a little easier for our Danielle Hunter and for Will Anderson. Caleb Banks didn't play a lot this year due to injury, but on the interior, he's a big body that can make life a little easier for your edge rushers. So that's what we're going to do. Beef up the trenches on the Houston defensive line and continue to keep strength on strength there defensively for the Texans. The Rams are on the clock at 29. They took Jermod McCoy at 13. Stafford's going to win MVP. Is this a spot where they could think about a quarterback? Trinidad Chambliss right now is in the class. He has not been granted that waiver. I did it the last mock, kind of like, all right, well, we'll see. But I do think that this, I can see this taking place. When we look at the best player available, they've addressed cornerback. Can they go edge rusher with Parker or Romello Heights? Sure. Can they go wide receiver? With Concepcion off of the board, I would not take Elijah Surratt in round one. And Chris Bell, if it weren't for the injury, he would absolutely be in play to be a round one player. I'm going to do it again. He's in the class, and I think this player with Sean McVay would be outstanding. Trinidad Chambliss to the Rams at 29. New England's on the clock at 30. The Patriots, guard, tackle, edge rusher, linebacker, positions of need. Let's get Mike Vrabel some more D linemen. We saw Milton Williams make an impact play. That's how important the trenches are. You've got Romello Height and TJ Parker available to you. I think you can go a multitude of directions. I'm going to go Romello Height. Outside linebacker, edge rusher. I think that would be an outstanding fit with Mike Vrabel in New England. So Romello Height out of Texas Tech goes to the New England Patriots at pick 30. And now we're here on the board. Denver's on the clock at 31, and then we've got Seattle at 32. The Broncos, you look on the board, running back, tight end, center, linebacker, positions of need. CJ Allen, good fit. Could they go another cornerback? You've got Riley Moss and PS2. You add strength on strength there. Can they go edge rusher right here with TJ Parker? Let's go linebacker for the Denver Broncos, CJ Allen out of Georgia. So CJ Allen goes to Denver. And here with the last pick, the Seahawks are on the clock. And the positions the board says is running back, center, guard, linebacker, and cornerback for the Seahawks. And I just want to take BPA. Like Avion Terrell is still sitting right here. You've got Colton Hood on the board, Brandon Cisse on the board as well. This defense led by Mike McDonald coming over from Baltimore is good. They are strong. They probably lose Reek Woolen this offseason. So if you can replace him with an opportunistic defensive back in Avion Terrell, who leads the class in forced fumbles from that cornerback position, I think that would be a good fit. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go Avion Terrell right here, brother of A.J. Terrell, the Pro Bowl cornerback out of the Atlanta Falcons. He is going to go to the Seattle Seahawks here at 32. And that concludes this round one mock. A little different than what we've done in the past. We went through those top 10 picks. Some of the ones that stood out to me that I have not mocked or seen. Vega Ioane, the guard going to the Baltimore Ravens. We know that O-line is a position of need. Dallas moving back from 12. They traded with the Minnesota Vikings to get an additional pick in 2027. So they got 327 first. They moved back and they got Cassius Howell and Caleb Lomu, the tackle out of Utah. We know Pittsburgh needs a receiver. They take Mekhi Lemon, Caden Proctor. Can he kick inside? Be that guard swing tackle for the Chargers. You can't do a damn thing without protecting Justin Herbert. Kenyon Sadiq, 19 to the Carolina Panthers. Also a new fit and a position of need for the Panthers. Love Casey Concepcion to the 49ers at 27. Monroe Freeling, his addition to round one of these mocks, he goes to the Cleveland Browns at 24. We've got the Eagles taking Denzel Boston. All the stuff happening with A.J. Brown, it's just hard to see how that course corrects itself throughout the offseason. Trinidad Chambliss to the Rams at 29. I love it. I would love for him to sit behind Matthew Stafford for potentially a year or two in Sean McVay's system. And then we rounded it out with Romello Heights, CJ Allen, and Avion Terrell, 30 through 32. There it is, round one mock. Appreciate y'all pulling up. Appreciate y'all tapping in to this show. Listen, hey, subscribe to the channel, hit the thumbs up button, like the content, like the stream, and engage in the comments. We got to talk about it from the last YouTube video, what the people are saying, we're saying. So let's pull it up and talk about it right now. So this was 7 days ago, the last mock we did. Shout out to Brett. Appreciate you tapping in. Said, I love the love projection. Talking about Jeremiyah Love. But realistically, I don't think a new coaching staff is going to build through the draft like that. If I had to wager, I think they trade this pick, move back in the first, maybe pick up a future first or other high picks and players. 26 seems like a clear bridge quarterback year. And the team needs to fundamentally improve in so many areas. I just don't see them going head over heels for a Lamborghini that is Jeremiyah Love. But maybe. Your takes are always great. I enjoy your dynasty content. Ray, you're probably right. With the new coaching staff in Arizona, and I think I made that pick before Gannon was fired, doubt that running back is the first position of need. What I'm struggling with are the trade back partners in this scenario, because a lot of times these teams are trading up for those elite edge rushers for the quarterback, and it just doesn't exist in this class. So I really do appreciate the comment. Much love, Brett. Thank you for watching. As a Washington fan, big fan of Bain or Bailey or Downs, and we're golden. Wouldn't hate one of the wide receivers, but got to improve defense and free agency if that's the route. Totally hear you, Commanders fans. Again, it would be fun to think about that offense with the Jeremiyah Love. In this mock, I did give them Arvell Reese out of Tennessee as that off-ball backer / edge rusher convert. Maybe you can get something out of him in that space with Dan Quinn there. Having had Micah Parsons, Reese is not Parsons, but I think he's more of a speed linebacker that can get after the quarterback as well. So I think he's going to end up being a top 10, especially after he tests at the combine. He's a freak athlete. Appreciate the comment here. Trey Hill, 159. I personally like Mekhi Lemon to Miami. Could be a great year for him if they get the QB situation right. Just not sure what his dynasty value would be being a wide receiver too. Lemon makes sense in Miami. Absolutely does in this mock with a new head coach, with a new regime, when we know Tua's not going to be there. Yes, free agent quarterbacks could absolutely fill that need. We went Ty Simpson. We went quarterback out of Alabama. I think regardless if the talent screams, oh, that's what, like we've seen this. The Kenny Pickett's, the Mac Joneses, hell, Trey Lance didn't play them college football in his final year and was still a top 5 pick. I just believe that when it's all said and done, if Simpson stays in, he's probably going to be picked in round 1, whether that's right or wrong. Another one right here. I want Jordyn Tyson to the Titans. Trade back if you have to. We need a wide receiver 1. He has the best chance of any wide receiver in this draft. I agree he is a wide receiver 1, and I agree the Titans need a receiver 1. I just think that at 4, maybe they take BPA, take the best player available, help with that defensive line, and go after a free agent group of wide receivers who it is a good class. And the receiver pool is deep here. Tennessee will absolutely be able to address receiver in round 2. I would get a veteran. That's just my opinion. I would get a veteran. We've got another one here. Still want to see what Benson has in Arizona. So another Cardinals fan saying no love. I want to see what Trey Benson can do. Pittsburgh really sent us to mock drafts in January. Yeah, I get it. And now Pittsburgh is at home and we're mocking for them. My Niners definitely don't need to draft 2 defensive ends when they need O-line help and a wide receiver. I hear you, Antoine, and we gave them a receiver in this mock. KC Concepcion to the Niners, and they absolutely do need a pass catcher. Banks, okay to add depth at D-tackle. LT Overton doesn't fit at all. Cannot play outside linebacker, edge, or cover. Going to get picked somewhere, right? These players got to get picked and fit somewhere. See what else we have. Cardinals fans saying love is cool, but no O-line. Totally get it. That's why we went Francis Mauigoa in this one. We got one here. Panthers have never drafted an edge rusher with arms under 33 inches. Cassius Howe, 30-inch arms. Also, Joshua has already said he's going back to school. So both Panthers picks were misses in that mock. Got to draft somebody this year, but we didn't go edge rusher for y'all. We went Kenyon Sadiq, tight end out of Oregon. So film to field, let me know what you think about this one. Reese is the pick at 12 if he's there. This is in relation to Dallas picking at 12, and he was not there. He was gone. Tennessee took him. So no Arvell Reese at 12. Dallas went ahead and got up out of there. And then we've got one right here. I don't want to be a hater, but this class seems to be big non-FFB draft, a big non-football draft outside of a few names. And obviously this will change in a few years after seeing those careers unfold. But compared to 24, 25, and projected 2027, it just doesn't seem like a great class and more of bench builders, a bench builders class. I don't think you're wrong in the sentiment that this doesn't feel like one of those kind of, you're getting generational guys. And I hate that term. We use it far too often, but you get the point. It's just to elicit. I'm using that word to make you, to understand where I'm coming from. It doesn't feel like there are these locked and loaded blue chip caliber, all pro potential players in this one. I guarantee if we polled the NFL, there's 32 picks in round 1, but teams don't have 32 first round graded players. Maybe they're like 12 or 13 that truly have true round 1 grades. This is going to be a draft where you got to get your guy and get your guy, fill a need. And if you are able to develop one of these players into something bigger or into something more than great, like if you get something else out of them, great. But this does feel like a get your guy class, fill a need, fill some positions type of draft class this year, instead of like, this is locked and loaded, guaranteed studs here in the draft. I appreciate y'all tapping in. Thank y'all for stopping by, talking ball with me. If you enjoyed it, hit the thumbs up button, like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment below. I will read the comments after every single mock draft video just to engage with y'all and see what y'all are talking about. Check out the podcast feed. If you can't watch the video live, you could subscribe to that. It's Ray G, Let's Talk Ball, Apple, Google, Spotify, Stitcher. And then wake up with Jay Rich and myself every Tuesday and Thursday, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking all things NFL, college football, NFL draft. Much love. Appreciate y'all. I'm out of this thing. Peace.